My name's Natalie Greene. I'm 37. I gave AleraTech 14 hours a day, 6 days a week, for 9 years straight. Built their client success program from a scribble on a whiteboard to a machine that brought in over 38% of the company's ARR. I'd onboarded Fortune 500 clients, flown red-eye to fix last-minute renewals, and handled crises before the execs even knew they existed. Then came Eric Walsh. Slick haircut, polished smile, ex-VC darling straight from some startup in Palo Alto. He wore all birds to meetings and called everyone rock star while gutting the old structure like it was yesterday's code. 2 weeks. In, he cut the support team by 20%. A month later, he stopped inviting me to leadership sinks. I got the hint. I was the legacy they wanted to clean out. Then, Friday, 9:03 a.m. I was in the middle of updating our Q3 retention dashboard when the email hit. Subject: Organizational realignment, immediate effect. No call, no meeting, just a sterile note from HR, copy-pasted from some corporate playbook. My access shut down within the hour. My name wasn't even mentioned in the company-wide memo. 9 years, and I was erased like a temp. I sat there for a full 10 minutes, just staring at that screen. Then I packed my things, photos, a cactus I'd kept alive since 2016, a worn-out mug with the phrase, "People before profit," ironically, fading off the side. The new intern asked if I was leaving for a vacation. I smiled and said, "Yeah, the long kind." They didn't even let me say goodbye to the clients I'd personally helped scale from garage operations to multi-million-dollar success stories. But here's the part they didn't account for. I wasn't angry. I wasn't loud. I was something far more dangerous, underestimated. As I walked out that glass door with the fake inspirational quote etched across it, I didn't slam it. I didn't look back, because I already knew the story they just ended. I was about to start writing a much better one, and this time they wouldn't get a footnote. I didn't cry. I didn't rage post on LinkedIn or throw a fit in the lobby. I just packed up my things in silence, each item a little reminder of the years I gave them. The project binder with handwritten client notes, the custom pen from a client in Seattle who once told me I was the only reason they hadn't left. AleraTech, a thank you card from a customer who sent cupcakes after I saved their renewal 2 hours before midnight. And the spreadsheet. Oh, I took that with me. Not the company files, nothing under NDA. Just a personal list I'd maintained quietly over the years. Notes, birthdays, kids' names, pets' names, even the coffee orders of 42 high-value clients I'd nurtured into brand evangelists. These weren't customers. They were relationships. Real ones. Ones you can't just assign to the next rep on the pipeline. When I walked past the glass conference room, I could see Eric in his element, running a culture transformation meeting, with sticky notes and buzzwords. He didn't even notice I was leaving, which was fine. I wasn't leaving for him. I was leaving for me. Outside, the Chicago wind bit harder than usual. I stood on the curb with my box, watching the reflection of the building shrink behind, me in the window of a passing bus. And in that moment, I didn't feel defeated. I felt free. Later that evening, I sat on my apartment floor, sorting through the last 9 years, emotionally more than physically. I didn't need revenge. I needed purpose. So I poured a glass of wine, opened my laptop, and started typing. A message, not to lawyers, not to the press, to 3 clients I trusted deeply. Just 3. The email was simple. Hey, just wanted to let you know I'm no longer with AleraTech. It's been an amazing run, and I've loved working with you. I'll keep you posted on what's next. Wishing you continued success. All 3 replied within the hour. Wherever you go, we follow. That's when it hit me. They hadn't fired a number. They'd fired the connection, and that's something no severance package could replace. The next morning, I brewed a strong cup of coffee, sat down by the window with my phone, and stared at it for a long moment. I wasn't planning a mass email or a press statement. No scorched earth tantrums, just 3 phone calls. That was it. 3 names on a post-it I'd scribbled the night before. 3 relationships I'd built not with pitch decks but with presence, showing up when no one else did. First was AleraTech. Mike picked up on the second ring. "Natalie, wait, what do you mean you're gone?" I explained briefly. No bitterness, just facts. He was silent for a beat. Then, "Tell me where you're headed. I've got a Q3 renewal sitting on Eric's desk and it's not moving without you." Next was Trueline Capital. Amanda didn't even let me finish. "We had a whole integration plan built around you, and now they're saying we'll be reassigned?" I could almost hear the steam rising from her coffee. "I'm yanking the contract. Call me when you're back in the game." Third, and most important, was Beacon Bridge, our biggest account. Jonathan, the CIO, had been skeptical of SaaS at first. It took me 2 years of white-glove support to win his trust. "You were the only reason we stayed through the last 2 pricing hikes," he said flatly. "They thought they could replace that with a Gen Z account exec who doesn't know our infrastructure? Tell them we'll be reviewing options, immediately." By the time I hung up, it wasn't revenge I felt. It was clarity. In 48 hours, the deals those 3 were about to sign, contracts worth nearly $4 million, were either frozen, pulled, or flipped upside down. I hadn't even tried to blow anything up. I just told the truth. Meanwhile, chaos brewed at AleraTech. I didn't have to be there to hear it. My Slack DMs started pinging from former colleagues. "What the hell did you do?" "Eric's in meltdown mode. Customers are demanding to talk to you, not your replacement. They're calling it a trust gap. Trust gap. That's what happens when you confuse a human being with a line item. They thought they were trimming cost. Turns out they'd just amputated the heartbeat." 2 days after the calls that shook the boardroom, I got a text from Jenna, my former assistant, the only one who never treated me like just a ladder rung. "You got a minute? It's about why they really fired you." That was all it took. 10 minutes later, we were sitting in a tiny cafe on the north side, both gripping cups of overpriced cappuccino like they were shields. She looked over her shoulder, then leaned in. "They're selling, Natalie." I blinked. "Selling what?" AleraTech. Full acquisition. Walsh came in to clean house before they pitched to Viridian Partners. Cut costs. Eliminate dependencies. That includes you. It hit like a slap in reverse. Not rage, not shock. Just cold clarity. Jenna continued. "They didn't want anyone who was the face of the product. You had too many clients loyal to you, not the company. That messes with the narrative they're trying to sell. Viridian wants plug and play. No individual influence. No loose ends. Loose ends. That's what I'd become to them. A liability, not a leader." She pulled out her phone and showed me a deck, internal slides she wasn't supposed to have. I scrolled. There it was, in plain text. Reduce single point. Client dependencies prior to Q2 valuation. That's corporate speak for fire the one person everyone actually trusts. So that's why Eric walked in here with a fake smile and a canned line about culture, I said, almost laughing. He wasn't leading growth. He was prepping a body for sale. Jenna nodded, eyes hard. They're stripping it down, inflating the valuation, and hoping no one notices they've gutted the soul of the company. And just like that, the missing pieces fell into place. Why I was left off leadership emails, why my commission structure got restructured, why half my key clients were suddenly reassigned to interns with bright teeth and zero tech fluency. They weren't trying to grow AleraTech. They were dressing it up for slaughter. And the kicker? All that time they were polishing the shell, they didn't think I'd notice, didn't think I'd matter. But they forgot one thing. When you strip a brand down to a spreadsheet, you also lose everything money can't measure. And in my case, that was trust, the one currency you can't fake. 3 weeks after walking away from the company that forgot who built it, I got a call that changed everything. It was from a woman named Lila Stone, co-founder of a rising SaaS startup called Everyan Cloud. We'd crossed paths once at a conference years ago when Everyan was just a pitch deck and a dream. Now they had seed funding, a passionate team, and what she called everything but direction. I heard what happened at AleraTech, she said. I also heard their biggest clients are exploring options, I smirked. Clients follow people, not logos. That's exactly why I'm calling. Lila didn't waste time. She offered me the position of Chief Growth Officer, full ownership of revenue strategy, complete freedom, to rebuild the kind of client-first approach I believed in. No fake KPIs, no quarterly gaslighting, no Eric Walsh with his cold brew and buzzwords. I said yes. And suddenly, I wasn't rebuilding from rubble. I was planting something new. Everyan was rough around the edges, but it had one thing AleraTech lost the moment. They tried to sell a soulless product, heart. I rolled up my sleeves and started making calls. Not sales calls, relationship calls. I didn't pitch. I asked questions. I listened. I remembered birthdays, business goals, the names of people's dogs. Old clients came, not just because they trusted me, but because they missed being treated like they mattered. 10 months later, Everyan's annual revenue had doubled. Retention was through the roof. Our NPS score broke records in our vertical. And the best part? Every member of my new team, from sales to success to support, believed in why we did what we did. We weren't chasing growth for growth's sake. We were building something that wouldn't collapse when the wind changed direction. Meanwhile, Eric and his shiny PowerPoint valuation? Yeah, I heard Veridian passed on AleraTech. Said the market story didn't match the client churn. Of course it didn't. You can't sell loyalty that was never yours to begin with. 6 months into my new role, I was invited to speak at the Global SaaS Growth Summit in Austin. AleraTech was also on the agenda, though their slot came with asterisks now. Restructuring, transitional strategy, pending acquisition. I didn't plan to mention them. I didn't need to. The room would already know. When I stepped on stage, I wasn't the ex-director they shoved out the back door with a templated goodbye email. I was the CGO of the fastest-growing mid-market SaaS company in the region, and for once, I didn't have to dress up metrics to sound like meaning. I stood in front of a crowd of polished suits and data dashboards and said, "We talk about CRM like it's just software. But the R, the relationship, that's the part you can't code." The room went quiet. I let that hang in the air for a moment before I added, "Your customers don't stay for your tech stack. They stay because someone on your team made them feel seen, remembered, respected, a few nods, then more. Retention isn't about a loyalty program or a renewal discount," I continued. "It's about trust. And when you fire the people who built that trust in the name of culture, fit, or cost optimization, you're not cutting fat. You're amputating your heartbeat." That one hit. I saw a guy in the second row lower his eyes to the AleraTech badge on his lanyard. I finished with this. I was once told I wasn't aligned with the company's new energy. So I left, and I built a team where alignment isn't forced, it's felt, where clients aren't data points, they're relationships. And now, they follow us. When I stepped off stage, a line had already formed. Startup founders, investors, former clients, even a few AleraTech folks who avoided eye contact but whispered, "That needed to be said." I didn't give a revenge speech. I gave a reminder that in the chase for scale, we forget what scales best: trust. 2 weeks after the conference, I got a text from a former colleague still stuck inside the slow-motion implosion that was now AleraTech. It read, "Boardroom bloodbath, sales off, Eric's gone. You really lit the match, huh?" I didn't reply right away. I just sat there, looking out the window of my corner office at Everian, sipping coffee from a mug one of our junior analysts had given me. It said, "The future is personal." A joke, maybe, but also not. By the end of that week, headlines hit. Private equity firm pulls out of AleraTech acquisition, citing instability. CEO resigns amid customer churn crisis. Eric Walsh. Terminated as culture shifts backfires internally, they called it a necessary reset. But we all knew it was a reckoning. Their Chicago headquarters, the glass and steel status symbol they were so proud of, was suddenly available for lease. Half the department heads were quietly laid off. Rumors floated through Slack threads and LinkedIn whispers. Engineers were jumping ship, account managers fielding angry calls. From legacy clients demanding, "Where's Natalie?" I didn't smile. Not exactly. It wasn't joy I felt. It was confirmation. When they let me go, they thought they were cutting dead weight, but they'd actually cut the spine, the part that kept the body upright, moving forward, connected. Didn't have to campaign against them. I didn't burn bridges or blast emails or leak anything to the press. I just built something better, quietly, consistently, unapologetically. And now? Now, the very people who once sat in sleek conference rooms, nodding while Eric dismissed me as replaceable, were scrambling to hold together the shell of a company that had lost its soul. Someone once told me the best revenge is living well. Don't know if that's true for everyone. But I know this. When I walk through the doors of Everian each morning, I don't carry bitterness. I carry proof. And every single day, I let it speak for itself. The email from AleraTech came 6 months later. This time, it wasn't a cold, automated message. It was personal. It was polite. It was desperate. They wanted me back, as a consultant, as an executive advisor, as a familiar face to rebuild trust. I read it twice, then closed my laptop. There was no satisfaction in rejecting them. Not anymore. I wasn't angry. I just wasn't interested. I'd moved on. Higher, deeper, wiser. Instead of stepping back into a crumbling empire, I put that energy elsewhere, into something that mattered more. I partnered with a group of former female tech leaders and launched the Pivot Fund, a grant and mentorship program for women who were unfairly laid off or pushed out of tech roles by politics, bias, or corporate ego. We helped them reskill, rebrand, restart. We helped them build what came after the door slammed shut. Every time we reviewed an application from a brilliant woman still stunned by the cruelty of a pink slip, I remembered how it felt to be left with nothing but my dignity and a login list of loyal clients. And every time we awarded a grant or introduced someone to a new opportunity, it felt like I was writing a different ending, not just for me, but for all of us who were ever underestimated. I didn't need AleraTech's apology. I had a legacy. They thought they could erase me with an exit email. But the truth is, I became bigger the moment I walked out that door. Now, when people ask what happened, I just say, I turned being discarded into being undeniable. I'm not here to be looked down on again. I'm here to lead and to lift. If this story resonated with you, don't scroll past. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear your story too. And hey, if you believe in rising after rejection, hit that like and subscribe. We're just getting started.